Our story is like anybody else's story. Boy meets a girl, then they get married and they have a baby. In our case, we had twins. So, like I said, our story is like anybody else's story. Up until the day that we found out this little guy has a really, really severe peanut allergy. Up until that point, we just ate the regular foods. I wasn't being present to what I was feeding my kids. I never really thought about it. So first I want to introduce myself. I'm Renee Seltzer, founder of Feeding My Kid. And in my journey, as we discovered how to deal with a peanut allergy, we have to carry our EpiPens everywhere we go. I really started to become acutely aware of what goes into food as I looked through the label and started to see if it was safe for him to eat. So up until that point, like I said, I wasn't really being present. I just gave him the food that I saw all of my friends offering, and this isn't any judgment. I just wasn't aware of how much sugar was in the foods, how many added flavors and food coloring. I just wasn't thinking about it. I saw that they were marketed to kids like these Go-Gurts, and I never really thought about it. It's marketed to kids. I just assumed it was safe. And then that was really where the epiphany happened. It's because of these little guys that I started to be aware of what happens. Do you know what happens when you eat too much sugar? Yeah. So I'll excuse my beautiful family and they can go back to making some dinner.
Bye.
Can we say bye-bye? Bye, everybody. Bye. But we actually have studies that show that even 10 days of taking sugar all the way down, 10 days of reducing sugar shows remarkable health in children's blood pressure and overall health in just 10 days. So make sure you check out that video where we really talk about sugar, but it is amazing. Kids do not get a free pass on their health. It adds up. We're getting over 30% of kids are obese and overweight, and of the skinny kids that eat a lot of junk food, they actually might have a fatty liver and might not even know it because they're skinny on the outside and not healthy on the inside. So I really want everybody to kind of look at some of the foods that they're feeding their kids, see how they could start pulling down those sugars, and we can make the next generation healthier than us. And that's really the goal.
So what is the maximum amount of sugar for children a day? Children under the age of 8 years old should have less than 4 teaspoons of added sugar a day. If you think about it, a Capri Sun has 3 teaspoons in just one Capri Sun. So it's really easy to go over that 4 teaspoons of added sugar a day. According to the American Heart Association, 4 to 8-year-olds are now taking in about 21 teaspoons a day of added sugar. And that's not from fruit or from milk. It's added sugar. So instead of the 4, they're getting 21 a day. Teenagers are even worse according to the journal Circulation. This is how much sugar teenage boys and girls are getting per day. So it does vary. Boys actually take in more sugar per day than girls, and a lot of that can be contributed to sugary drinks, sodas, Gatorades, things like that. Boys are getting 29 to 34 grams a day, and girls are getting 23 to 24 grams a day, about. The maximum for this age group is about 5 to 8 grams of sugar per day of added sugar. Wow. The Wall Street Post has actually commented that kids are eating toxic amounts of sugar. This shouldn't be taken lightly. This is actually why we need to take this really seriously. Food manufacturers can be very manipulative by using almost 80 different names of sugar labels. I found different infographics on the web, and I actually added up all the different names, and I came up with almost 80 names. Even foods we least expect to have added sugars, including those that are marketing themselves as healthy. So a lot of times that's where I get so peeved, is these foods are deceptively marketed as healthy and they have tons of added sugar. So be wary. If something says low fat, it generally has a lot more sugar to make up for the taste when they take out that fat. So be really wary that if it says healthy, don't just take the packaging at face value. Look at the label, read the label, and make sure that it really is healthy. And we have a whole article in this series that walks through how to read labels and really kind of look out for different manipulative ways that food manufacturers hide the ingredients in the label. Why is sugar so bad?
Definitely check out our sugar video to find out why that happens. But if your child is suffering from acne, is suffering from being tired, crabby, has those ups and downs with tantrum, it's because they're doped up on sugar. And what happens is when they start to go down, because the body is reacting to all that sugar, so it's lowering the blood sugar, they're getting super crabby. And then you end up giving them another snack to pick them back up, and it becomes this vicious cycle of these ups and downs and tantrums because of the food that we're giving them, because of the food that's targeted to children. These foods have very little magnesium, zinc, copper. They have very little actual nutrients. So what happens is the body is always asking for more snacks and more food because it's craving these nutrients. If you start pulling back on all of these processed foods for your kids, they're going to be more open to eating vegetables. They're going to be more open to trying new foods. So it really becomes a question of, I'm committed, I'm gonna get my kids to drink a lot less sugar waters, right? They're gonna drink real waters. I'm gonna get them to start eating different kinds of breakfasts like oatmeal with cinnamon and bananas, things with tremendous amounts of fiber, so when they go to school, they're ready to take it on, and they're not gonna get tired and lose their concentration at school. So here, I just wanted to show you, I know you're thinking, well, here's oatmeal. I just talked about giving your kids some oatmeal. This oatmeal has 12 grams of sugar in a packet, okay? If you can find oatmeal without the sugar, this is ideal. I know there's these marshmallows. You could always take those out or just buy it without the marshmallows. But see about getting your kids onto a much more high fiber. This has 3 grams. So this is the minimum amount of fiber you want in a meal, 3 grams of fiber. Okay, so if it doesn't have that starting for breakfast, don't give it to your kids. That is just the rule. Does this have 3 grams of fiber? No, don't give it to your kids. Let them throw the tantrum. Have a couple days of just really, really gnarly, mean, tantrumy kids for a while, because you're gonna do their long-term health a real service. So here are some Horizon snacks. You're like, oh, these are, they're organic wheats. They have 8 grams of whole grains. In every serving, they also have all this added sugar. So go for things without added sugar. That's it. Don't be tricked by the things that say whole grains. It's fine. You want whole grains, but you also want it to be very low in sugar. Here are Pop-Tarts. The thing about Pop-Tarts is it has 16 grams of sugar in a Pop-Tart, but they come in packs of 2. Right? So I think they already know you're going to eat 2 of these. That's insane. That is 32 grams of sugar in one sitting. That is your entire week, month in 2 of these Pop-Tarts. That's insane. That is over this much sugar in 2 Pop-Tarts. I'm pretty sure once you start to see it like this, you're not going to want to give this to your kids. So like I said, the sugars, here are some fruit roll-ups, here's some Cheez-Its, here's some Kool-Aid singles, and a pizza. I mean, what are you telling your kids? This is just junk food. If you give it to them once in a while, everything in moderation, even moderation, but that's insane. This is like one piece of junk food over the other. It has 19 grams of sugar. It has 3 grams of fiber, but it doesn't equal out the sugar. So this is insane, and it really kind of screams junk food altogether. So even in these biscuits, I just want to show you there are plenty of choices that don't have sugar. But even in these biscuits, there's 5 grams of sugar. So it's a little bit of everywhere. So if you think, oh, well, this only has this many grams of sugar, cumulatively throughout the entire day, when you add it up, it becomes a tremendous amount of sugar. So that's what we're looking for. Every little bit of sugar adds up. So if you could start pulling down how much sugar your kids are eating, a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, by the end of the month, you're going to save 10, 20, 40 teaspoons of sugar, and that's a tremendous amount of sugar. We don't want, there's a big part of us as parents that are always on some kind of fad diet, and what we can do is really teaching kids to eat healthy from a young age could reduce or eliminate the need for fad diets later on. So that's the goal, is to create kids with healthy relationships with food. We want the next generation to be healthier than us, and it really starts now. So if your kid is 10 or 12 and overweight, we could change today. If your child is 2 or 3, don't even start introducing these types of foods to them. They won't even know about them. So I really appreciate your time today to watch this. I hope that you could share this video with your friends and family. We could start building awareness. We could start forcing all of these companies to start selling healthier foods, reduce sugars, and not the fake artificial sugars either. I'm talking about taking the sugars down, and all of us to start adjusting to life without this much sugar. So please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and on Twitter, and really help to share this message so the next generation of kids could be healthier than us.